Hey, what's up, everyone? This is the Puck Bros podcast. I am Brett, and as always, I'm joined by my brother Nolan. We're going to talk about some of the most recent NHL news today because there was quite a bit that happened over the last 2 weeks. Some hirings, some extensions, some contracts being terminated, lots of good stuff. It's going to be a good episode. Let's get it started. Yeah, the first thing is, I don't know, it's not the most fun thing to talk about. I know when I brought up this topic, you just said
Yucky.
yucky. Yeah, Stan Bowman, the former general manager of the Chicago Blackhawks, was hired by the Edmonton Oilers today to be their new general manager and president of hockey operations. Just for some background, I think if you're in the hockey world, you probably know about this. If not, here's just like, I'm going to try to PG this as much as I can.
You can try your best.
So during his tenure of being the Chicago Blackhawks general manager, one of the players was assaulted in an inappropriate way by one of the team doctors.
It's like a video coach,
someone who's on the staff of the team. So not Stan Bowman himself, but someone who is a staff member of the Chicago Blackhawks assaulted a player. And they kind of just swept that under the rug. They said, we're focused on winning championships here and we don't want this distraction. And then it comes out, that's like in 2010, right?
That was in 2010.
2010, yep. And then 10 years later, actually 11 years later, the guy's name is Kyle Beach. He came out saying, hey, this happened to me while I was a member of the Chicago Blackhawks. And I think they still employed that staff member. I can't remember his name who did that. And he's
they had him still employed for a while. And then his name was on the cup as well.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my gosh.
And they recommended him to a college team or high school team. And he assaulted a child and went to jail for that. So that was their He got a good recommendation from the Chicago Blackhawks, and it led to him assaulting someone else.
Yeah. So that you made it even worse. Not because you made it. You just kind of revealed hey, these guys made a big issue there, and that's so when that came out in 2021, both Stan Bowman and Joel Quenneville, who was the current coach of the Florida Panthers, but obviously this went down when he was the head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks. They both resigned from their positions, even though Joel Quenneville wasn't with the organization. He still resigned, which at the time I was like, it kind of sucks. It affects the Florida Panthers when we had nothing to do with it, but it is what it is. I think it was the right thing to do. They were not allowed to re-sign with any teams since then, but then they got reinstated, which already was a controversial thing this offseason, and everyone thought, well, they reinstated him, but no one's going to hire him. Whoops, Stan Bowman is hired by the Oilers.
It kind of shows what I think a lot of people assume, there's a boys club, because you keep seeing the same guys constantly getting hired and rehired, fired, rehired. And I guess you can kind of just get away with anything and you still can end up with a job.
I mean, this is... Yeah, sorry, you keep going.
If you remember Mike Babcock, he had that whole thing revealed, how he would treat players in Toronto, especially younger players, and then gets hired by Columbus and then starts doing the weird thing again. And then they're like, oh, wait, maybe we shouldn't have hired this guy.
Whoops.
So I think Stan Bowman, even though the real problem that he had and what most of the higher-ups in Chicago had was trying to pretend that this serious case was nothing.
Right.
And overall, that just makes you bad. I don't care who I don't care when it comes to sports or anything. That it's probably you probably should not just like, oh, let's just sweep this under a rug. It's nothing.
I think the worst thing is the thing you brought up, that it isn't just that they swept it under the rug, which is bad, but then they
Mm-hmm.
also went so far to ignore it to recommend him to other positions, and it ended up
Yeah.
leading to even worse things happening.
Yes, that's
And
the worst part.
the repercussions they've faced is clearly been very little. I mean,
No. Yeah, it's
you,
been nothing.
they were able to not get a job for 3 years. That was it,
Yeah,
basically.
boo hoo. And
After
then
they made their
immediately get a job
millions.
after they're reinstated. It's it's just yeah, it's kind of a I don't know. It's kind of just a problem with you
So
can say that's a problem with like a lot of things. Like I heard there's like big companies that just hire bad people just because they were good at their job.
so here's something that a lot of people are saying on Twitter, because that's just where I see all the news and stuff. So think about some of the players that the Oilers have recently added. Evander Kane, who had all those different locker room issues. I think he went bankrupt or something. He had all that controversy with his ex-wife, and they
Yeah.
they added him. And then you get Corey Perry this past season, who left the Chicago's Blackhawks organization. He apparently breached something in his contract, something related to a Blackhawks staff member. And Edmonton's
Yeah.
like, hey, we'll sign you. And now they sign Stan Bowman to be their GM. So it's kind of like a pattern for the Oilers to bring in these guys who have had issues. And the Oilers don't
Yeah.
really get a lot of talk about it. Now they will, but before it was like
Yeah.
minimal.
It's just sad that the fan base will have to just like kind of deal with that. And there's going to be people who are going to force themselves to defend it because they want to support their team.
Right.
But I feel like you can still support the team, but still not like support the decisions they made.
That's how I see a
Like
lot of the Oilers fans. They're saying like we are not, like a lot actually were saying we're not happy about this. And obviously that's
no,
just the
because
Twitter crowd, so that doesn't represent like all the Oilers fans, but
there's so many different options. Like, why did you hire the guy who kind of like ran Chicago down to the ground? Not only not only that, but also with the huge cover up thing. So there's like so many red flags there, but then they're just like, well, I don't know. He was won 3 cups.
yeah. So I did want to bring up the hockey past, just because you know, this is the reason. Like this is basically what you were getting on with. This is why they hired him. As soon as he became the general manager of the Blackhawks in 2009, he had been a member of the Blackhawks staff since 2005. But in '09, he was named the general manager, and that season, the 2009-2010 season, they won the Stanley Cup, their first one in a long time.
Mhm.
And then they won again in 2013 and again in 2015. It was like this miniature dynasty, which we've seen a few here since the 2000s, like the Penguins, the Kings a little bit, the Tampa Bay Lightning, obviously. And so Stan Bowman was given a lot of credit as one of the guys to lead them to those 3 cups. But as you said, he did eventually run them into the ground. It was actually kind of
Yeah.
Dale Talon who kind of built the foundation, because he was the general manager that drafted Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. So it's hard to know how much credit Bowman
It
gets for
it
the
is kind of similar
Blackhawks.
to the situation of Tampa because Geiserman kind of built the Tampa Bay Lightning
Hmm.
and then but didn't win any of the cups for it.
Right. And if
So
Bowman wins a cup here with Edmonton this year, I can say confidently that's not because of Bowman.
yeah, it's interesting to say the least. I don't know. I just don't
I don't
know.
think he should have been given a position, but it is what it is. We can't. There's very little we can
We can't
control.
we can dislike it, but we're not rich these rich people that are making the decisions that are just hiring their buddies.
Right. And
Yeah.
one thing you mentioned before, you said like you see a lot of the same guys get hired and rehired. Well, that kind of happened. In Columbus, You mentioned Columbus too, that they had they brought in Babcock. They fired him, so then they had a guy whose name I don't even remember.
Dean Evanson.
No. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about the random dude that was their coach last season.
Yeah, the Blue Jackets random coach. But Dean Evanson was the coach for the Minnesota Wild for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, or I guess we can say 4 1/4. Because last year the Wild started out 5-10-4, and the Wild said, "We're done with you," even though he led them to back-to-back 100-point seasons. So 2 playoff appearances. They end up doing better-ish after firing him, but not enough to make the playoffs. So it can't really be too much on Dean Evanson. He clearly wasn't the problem with Minnesota. So Columbus, I think they make a great hire here by getting Dean Evanson. He should be their coach for a while. I don't know if he's going to be the thing that makes Columbus
you never know with Columbus coaches.
Yeah, but Evanson has a good record. Like I mentioned, he brought the Wild to back-to-back 100-point seasons, and then they didn't get 100 points after they fired him. So there you go. I do think it's a good decision by them to bring in Evanson. Definitely a better one than Babcock.
Yeah, I think it's like you said. Like, the problem with Minnesota is like they were always like, yeah, they had a good season, but then they did like nothing. So that could have been the issue that they had, because yes, they always like were in the playoffs, but have they ever like made the third round? I don't think so.
No.
So yeah, so they had the old Nashville problem before they made a cup.
Well, sorry, yeah. If you guys something else, I'll get for it. I got it.
Yeah, I think I don't think Columbus's issue is really
coaching,
because they've had so many coaches. But they've always like tried when they tried the Babcock thing. That's when they like, oh, let's make a big splash move, and then that all turned around. And other than that, they've been just kind of like building from within. And now that they finally like have a different GM, they have the new big hired coach. You could maybe see a change, but that team I feel like is still just like meh. Nobody cares. They're not going to do anything unless some prospect, like if Fantilli becomes really good.
Who'd they get this year?
Then maybe, but we'll see. Columbus, I don't think anybody's like, oh man, look out for Columbus.
No, not yet. They're like with Ottawa, Detroit, and Buffalo. Like everyone's like, these teams are about to turn around. They're going to make the playoffs here really soon.
Yeah, maybe.
Columbus is not in that conversation at all. You want to know something? You talked about like playoff success. So Dean Evanson obviously not able to bring Minnesota deep into the playoffs. Columbus has only won one playoff round in their history, and it is an epic playoff round win though.
Probably one of the best moments in hockey history.
The sweep of the Tampa Bay Lightning, the President's Trophy winning Tampa Bay Lightning. But I think they won back-to-back cups after that happened, right?
It turned out to be good for them. That was like the best thing that could have happened to them.
Crazy.
Just winning 2 cups immediately after being like the laughing stock of the league.
Right.
That's why a lot of people maybe would have thought like Boston could have won this year, just because after that whole thing with Florida. But
they ran into Florida again.
Then they ran into Florida again. But at least they didn't get a 3-1 series lead and then blow it.
We were close. I was a little worried.
It was a little worrisome, but they went out. They got it in the end.
But yeah, Columbus, they need their players to step up. Obviously, Fantilli is expected to be their number 1 franchise center. I'm not sure who they picked this year.
You're right. I don't know.
Somewhere swirling in my
Columbus.
Head.
Keep saying Columbus peoples who need to step up while I look this up.
They had such I've got some stuff. So last year they had such a big offseason, adding on the defensive end, adding Provorov. They've already got Werenski there.
Okay, I got it.
Damon Severson. And so their defense was supposed to be really good. And so they've been building. It's just the success has not been there yet. So who'd they pick up in the draft?
They picked up Caden Lindstrom. He's a big center.
So another center.
another center. He's more like a definitely like power forward-ish. He might take a couple years to develop though. He's definitely not someone. It was kind of crazy that they didn't draft Ivan Demidov.
I thought everyone's surprised how low Demidov went.
Yeah, because Anaheim just picked that random guy.
Yeah.
Beckett something.
Seneca.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, Caden Lindstrom I really like, though. That was a nice pickup. Hopefully he turns out to be good. He might be, like, a slow development, but if Columbus, like, works it out good. Well, Columbus tends to rush their prospects a lot.
Yeah, and they're not competing anytime soon. Obviously, if they're going to try to build that 1-2 center punch, which you've seen so many teams that have success do have.
Yeah.
Those will potentially be their guys. I think they were trying to do that with Johnson. I can't ever remember his first name. But Johnson and Roslovich. But Roslovich is gone. Johnson couldn't really make the NHL roster regularly. So we're like, all right, try again.
Kent Johnson.
Kent Johnson. That's it.
Is he a center? I didn't know he was a center.
He kind of is a Swedish knife now. He kind of like can play both either wing.
Swiss Army knife. Sorry. Swedish knife. It's okay.
I got it. It's close.
I only know that because of a movie called Swiss Army Man.
Swiss Army Knife. Yeah, he plays both wing. He can play center, but when he was like as a prospect, he was a center.
Yeah.
We can move on from talking about franchises.
I want to talk about Columbus for forever.
I was gonna say we can move on for franchises that kind of stink, I guess. To Joe Pavelski. He decided to hang up the skates. He still was doing pretty good when he decided to retire. Played with Dallas last year, obviously. Played the full 82 games. Put up 67 points, which that's obviously you're not winning the Hart or the Art Ross, but 67 points is not nothing. That's good. And in the playoffs...
Didn't do good. Spoiler alert.
Maybe this is why. Yeah, in the playoffs, he was a -5 on a team that made it to the third round, so not good. Only put up 4 points, a single goal in 19 games. So maybe
it's crazy because he's usually like a playoff beast.
That's true. Maybe so. I look at the regular season numbers first.
Just an off. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. He's usually like a beast. Like during the cup runs, he was definitely like a goal scorer because he was on San Jose when they had their cup run, and then Dallas when they had their cup run.
True. Yep.
So he was close to the Stanley Cup twice, and he definitely deserved it twice. But sadly, because in both scenarios, I was rooting for the Sharks and the Stars. Because I think it was the Penguins and then the Lightning.
Yeah, the Sharks made it the year before the Predators. No, it was the year after.
Right? It was the year before.
It was the year before. Yeah. Pavelski finishes up his career with 1,332 games played, 1,068 points, so he got above that 1,000 point mark. He was a Selke nominee, or he got Selke votes basically his whole career. He ended up getting a couple Hart votes in 2015-16 when he put up 78 points. Must have been not a lot of high scores there if someone like that's getting Hart votes. But yeah, no, a solid career by Pavelski.
And I think the coolest fact about him is the fact that Sharks picked him up with a 7th round pick.
7th round pick, one of the best low picks of all time. But he is going to retire without a Stanley Cup to his name. That's always one thing that kind of
still a great career. It does suck, but a lot of players retire without a Stanley Cup. It's very hard to win.
True.
So it is really cool that he was able to create 1,000+ game career, 1,000-point career.
Yep.
When you're taking the 7th round, you're just kind of
right. It's like I think this guy might work out. Maybe.
Hopefully he's good. If he's not, it's not any issue.
The Panthers. I was gonna say the Panthers are hoping that's what they did with Jack Devine. He was a 7th round pick, and he led the Denver Pioneers in points and to a national championship. So who knows?
See, you bring up a Panther guy.
Who's up your guy?
I'll bring up the guy who scored the game-winning goal against us, Patrick Hornquist.
His name is on the cup.
Last overall pick, and another guy who might have a statue in the Nashville arena is Pecorine. He was the 258th thing when the league had 9 rounds of draft picks.
Nuts.
So it is cool seeing like these late round pick guys turn into like future Hall of Famers. I'm not sure if
that's what I was going to ask. I guess, where is he a Hall of Famer? So no,
I'll let you go.
So first. No personal trophies. A lot of votes. Like I said, he got Selke votes his whole year, but he never won one. A couple of Hart I forgot to mention he also got some Hart votes in the 2014 season. A couple of All-Star appearances. The above 1,000 points is great. I think we've seen guys with better careers not be in the Hall of Fame. The main one that comes to mind for me is McGillney. And I think McGillney has had a better career than Pavelski. So if you're not going to put McGillney in...
I'll be honest, I don't know who McGillney is.
So he was big in
kind of a fake hockey fan when it comes to older people.
Yeah, he was big in the 90s and late 80s with the Sabres. They moved around a little bit. But Sabres fans are the ones who big push him to make the playoffs. I can give you his stats real quick. I can pull it up, not too quick. I can pull it up quickly. That's what I was trying to say.
If he was on the Sabres, he didn't win a cup.
No, he did not.
So yeah, he sucks.
Okay, so he played 990 games, so less games, but put up 1,032 points in 990 games.
Pretty good.
Big-time goal scorer. Got a couple of Hart nominations or Hart votes, especially in 96. That was with Vancouver. Couple All-Star appearances. So, I mean, he started his career in 1989. And played through 2006. That's the low-scoring era of hockey, with Hasek and Brodeur, even Lundqvist a little bit late. Here's Patrick Waugh. He's playing against all those guys, and he's still up to be above a point-per-game player. So that's why a lot of people say McGillney should be in, but he's not.
Yes.
I don't know if that changes your mind about Pavelski now that I've given you knowledge about McGillney.
Well, did you like give your opinion, like what you think? Should he make the Hall of Fame, or are you waiting for me?
I say I would not be surprised if he does make it, but I think there's still better players who aren't in it yet who should make it before him.
Yeah, he's like one of those guys who are like Hall of Very good.
Right.
Really good player. Definitely will be remembered as like a great story, like 7th round pick. Whenever they're going to bring up like late round success, his name's going to pop up like number 1 in the list, very high, because 1,000 points is not easy.
No.
So yeah, it's definitely a great player. Will be remembered. Just I don't know about Hall of Fame, man.
Is Hornquist a Hall of Famer?
No.
On the cup several times.
Okay.
You'd be over. I feel like that would be. Good. I think that would be overvaluing Stanley Cup championships if Hornquist gets in.
Yeah.
Because overall in his career, he had 543 points, 901 games. For a guy who's last overall, that's great, but obviously not Hall of Fame career. Stanley Cup championship winning goal, obviously. And he got it. What's pretty cool, and I mentioned it very briefly, but he's on the cup again with the Panthers as he was the head of the scouting department for us. So he's on the cup 3 times, 2 with Pittsburgh, 1 with the Panthers in a staff role. So that's pretty cool.
Very, very nice. Very nice.
You made me move on from McGinley, so now my transition's not going to be as fun because I was going to go, speaking of Russians, Evgeny Kuznetsov. The Carolina Hurricanes decided to put him through, I forget what it's called, irrevocable waivers, something waivers. Basically terminated his contract. He's expected to go play over in the KHL. His career numbers started to dip down quite a bit here the last few years. Obviously was a huge part of the Capitals Stanley Cup in 2018. 2019 was the Blues. That was when he had an 83-point season. Even he had a 70-point season 2 times after that. And then just kind of really progressed hard over the last 2 years. Only 24 points combined between the Capitals and Hurricanes last year. Jeez. Sorry. And then only 7 points for the Hurricanes in the regular season. He did get 6 points in the playoffs with the Hurricanes in 10 games. But ultimately, it seems like he's played his last game here in North America.
It's kind of crazy. Because I remember for a good bit, I don't know, it was always rumored that Nashville was always interested in him. And I am so glad we did not get him.
Especially these last couple seasons, yeah.
It is kind of crazy, like, how randomly, like, up and down he is. 2014-15, 37 points. 2015-16, 77. The next season, 59 points. Next season, 83. Then we got some consistency. Good Lord. Some words just don't work for me.
It's okay.
72, then 52 points in 63 games, and then 29 points, 41 games, 78 points in 79 games, 55 points in 81 games, then the
24 year.
Yeah. It's very up and down season. During the Washington Cup run, though, he was a beast.
Right.
I remember that.
Everyone will remember that. Obviously, it was all about Ovechkin, but Kuznetsov contributions cannot be forgotten in that Cup run.
Oh, yeah.
So is he a Hall of Famer? No.
Oh, my God. Not even close.
Maybe in the Russian
700 games and 568 points. No. He's not even in the Russian Hall of Fame. In KHL, he does 210 games, 146 points.
Yeah, he's gonna go back in Russia. I think he'll do very well there.
Or maybe not. Who knows? Isn't that all that we can talk about? Will this guy do good? Will this guy not?
I think he'll do well in Russia. He still was he was still putting up points. I know it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you were just mentioning he had like the roller coaster points. Maybe this year he goes way up because he's playing over in Russia.
He'll be playing with top Russian guys, and the ice is different in Russia. You know. Don't you know?
Is it different? What makes the ice different?
I don't know. It's colder.
It's colder.
There's war going on. That's awful. Sorry. Sorry.
Oh boy.
You can cut that out.
It's too late. I don't edit the video, so
I'm sorry. I just,
Well,
too much Family Guy.
Let's move on. So we talked about some guys leaving the league in Pavelski and Kuznetsov. Let's talk about some extensions and some younger guys. Quentin Byfield of the Los Angeles Kings. He was a second overall pick by them. And he has decided he's going to stay in LA for 5 more years, getting a $6.25 million cap hit each of those years. I think it's a pretty good deal for LA. I think he could have potentially gotten more.
Yeah. But, I mean, it makes sense for both because I think that's a fairly solid deal for him and for the team because this was his first, coming out and, doing good season. So, and he looked, extremely good. Let me go to, because I'm using the greatest website of all time, Wikipedia.
Oh, I'm doing Hockey Reference. That's what you should be doing.
Yeah. I know, right? I should be doing anything other than Wikipedia.
So here, I can tell you real quick.
He was I already have it up. before this season, he was kind of putting up like bottom six numbers.
Yeah.
Like it was looking. People were concerned on the Ottawa fan base. Like 40 games, 10
You mean
points, 53
LA?
games, 22. What?
You said Ottawa.
I'm just talking. I don't even know what's going on.
The Kings fans, I don't think Ottawa cared, but maybe they did.
Kings fans were concerned that did we just draft like a meh guy? But now he finally like showed, hey, I can score goals, and he looks like a great little middle top six guy. Big too. That's why I liked him during his draft year. He's big, 6'5", 220 pounds. Big.
Yeah, and his numbers are going to go up, right? I mean, no way he's going to regret.
He is young, so it'll depend. I hope he keeps having success, because I did like him when he was in his draft year. Because what was it? 2020. Yeah, that was the weird. Was that the?
That was Lafreniere, right? Or was that Owen Power?
Lafreniere. Okay, the following year was Owen Power. My bad. Yeah, that draft was kind of looking concerning, but now Lafreniere had a good year, and now
Byfield had a good year.
Quentin Byfield, so now it doesn't look like, well, Tim Stutzel's probably been the first overall pick, even though he probably should have.
Yeah, no. Byfield put up 20 goals. That's one thing you didn't mention last year.
Oh yeah,
and he's only gonna be 22, and coming into this year, at the end of the contract, he'll be 27, kind of just entering into his prime. So that puts the Kings in a interesting position. So if he continues to progress and get better and better, he's going to be entering his prime at the end of his contract. Could potentially sign. He'll probably, if he continues to progress the way he has been, he can sign for a massive deal, like one of those crazy $10 million contracts. But if he ends up like being not so good, then the Kings can kind of like, no, this is what he's going to be, right? So I think either way, like you said, it kind of benefits both of them. Byfield has the opportunity to know, like, hey, I'm only getting 6.25. If I perform well these next 5 years, I could be one of the top paid players. Or it works out for...
I'm making $6 million per year.
Right. I mean, nothing to sneeze at, right? Obviously.
Yeah. It's solid numbers for a top six guy.
Oh, yeah. And like, if he becomes, like... who's got a really good contract right now? Carter Verhaeghe is who I think. He's a little bit older than this, but Carter Verhaeghe's only making like $4 million, and he's like one of the top scorers. So Byfield could end up being similar to that contract, especially if he ends up being like a point per game player, which I think could easily happen even as soon as next season. Not like 100-point scorer, but like, maybe 82 points.
I feel like he just needs better line mates. Because when you think LA, right now their top player is still Kopitar, and he's getting up there in age.
He re-signed there recently. He got like a little tiny extension.
Do you even like kind of know LA's roster? Like, I'm kind of like blanking on most of the names. Like Adrian Kempe is like the good guy.
Drew Doughty.
Drew Doughty. I'm thinking of forwards. Oh, they have Kevin Fiala. I forgot about
Fiala.
They also have Alex Lafreniere.
They traded a lot of their stuff for PLD, so that's kind of not helping.
That's true. PLD is gone. They brought back Trevor Lewis. And Tanner Jeannot. Okay.
Wait, I forgot Tanner Jeannot moved over there. Oh my gosh.
That's right.
That's a big addition.
Yeah.
He'll produce just as much as PLD did last year.
Yeah, I don't know about this team. I kind of feel bad for Byfield. He needs like a number one. He needs like a number one playmaker.
Which it would have been Doughty if he was younger, but
well, yeah, I guess so.
So there is one more extension
to end the show with.
Yeah, and this just happened today. You let me know. I didn't even know it happened.
Yeah.
But one of the funnest names in the NHL, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. He decided he's going to stick around in Buffalo, which, I mean, he was a restricted free agent, so he probably wasn't going to go anywhere. But he also signed a 5-year contract, but with only a 4.75 cap hit, and he hasn't performed like crazy good, so that's probably the right amount of money for him. It's similar to what the Panthers gave Spencer Knight, and so far Luukkonen is on a better track than him at this point. So Might work out.
Sure, he stays in the NHL for more.
Right. So last year he played the most games out of all Buffalo goaltenders, and he started 51 games. He ended up having a record of 27, 22, and 4, which on the tape... God. Oh, I'm sorry. On the
You've been doing pretty good since then.
On the Sabres, 27, 22, and 4 is pretty darn good. A 910 save percentage and a 2.57 goals against average. So definitely had a great season last year. We assume he's going to get better. He's going to be 25 entering in the season. So he's a little bit older than Byfield. But definitely on a good path so far. What do you think?
I think the main story here is like they're committed to him. When people thought like Devin Levy was, or Levi,
I think I've been hearing both. I hear Levy more often.
I'm going to say Levy. So Devin Levy, I think it's kind of, so I'm wondering if they're planning on doing like a possible Boston Bruin thing with Swayman and Ullmark, to where they have those two guys playing back to back. Because that would make the most sense, especially since Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen's coming off his first year where he played 54 games. And yeah, like you said, he put up really good numbers for a Buffalo goalie. I mean, 2.57, 9.10, like those are good numbers. I don't know what Buffalo's main issue this year. It might have been scoring, I'm guessing.
It's just kind of underperforming.
That's typical Buffalo.
Right.
But yeah, so hopefully, but he definitely earned a good contract, and it's a fair contract too. Like that is solid for a goalie deal. Like under $5 million, that's good.
Yeah,
for a guy who's putting up those numbers. So hopefully he can just continue that success, and then hopefully that tandem can get together and like start doing good things, and hopefully Buffalo can finally make the playoffs.
It'd be nice
for once.
This has really been
they're just kind of stuck in that division that's really good. Like us, all the teams are trying to improve.
They're in the Atlantic, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. With the Panthers, Lightning, Tampa, Boston are kind of running the show right now. Tampa's
probably... You gotta think one of those teams are going to finally come up, and then one of the other teams are going to fall.
Tampa's the one that's looking like it could be. I hope this doesn't happen, but I'm going to say I wouldn't be shocked if Florida has this major cup hangover and we miss the playoffs.
It happens to a lot of Stanley Cup teams. I want to be the first.
Obviously, the Panthers are projected to win the Atlantic Division, which you typically would project that after a team wins the Stanley Cup, but projections don't normally go the way people expect. One thing I was going to say...
I think the Montour loss will be tough for them.
We got Nate Schmidt, though.
Yeah, he's left-handed.
We got that guy from Columbus, Boquist, Adam Boquist.
Boo-hoo. Better hope he turns into the next Gustav Forsling.
Could be. Buffalo Sabres, I was going to say, they really haven't had a maiden goaltender since Ryan Miller, right? I can't think of anyone that's not been like a revolving door. Because they did have Ullmark, but like barely.
Was it Yaroslav Halak there for a bit?
Halak went everywhere, so maybe.
He was like the Blues goalie, I think.
He was on Montreal for a while, and then he went to like St. Louis, and then kind of like a little bit everywhere. I think Islanders at some point.
Mm-hmm. Halak's career is very interesting.
But anyways, yeah, like I was saying, Buffalo really hasn't, ever since Ryan Miller left, mm-hmm. It's just kind of been a revolving door of goaltenders. So maybe Luukkonen can finally add some stability, even if Levy doesn't end up being that kind of 1A, 1B. At least Luukkonen's proved that he can be a formidable starter.
Yeah, I mean, this was his first good year. The year previous was not as good. 3.61, 892. Not good. But we can they'll figure it out, and I'm sure Buffalo will make the playoffs by the time we turn probably 50, I would say.
If not,
maybe before you turn even 30, you know.
They'd have to make it this year. They'd have to make the this year.
And then if not, then they have to wait till I turn 30.
Or you turn 30. Okay. Yeah. That's a fair deal, I think.
Yeah. All right. I think that's the end of that conversation. So we gotta like do a little a little icebreaker, I think, to end
Okay.
the episode. And I have a question. Who was your favorite Panther during NHL '09 era?
Yeah, that's it. I think you already know my answer to this,
I
so
think I know.
I don't. I'm fine talking about it. David Booth. You
David
remember
Booth,
him?
not Brett McLean or
Um,
McLean.
Brett McLean. Uh, I mean, I thought it was cool that we had the same name, but David Booth was definitely my favorite player.
Oh yeah.
When he came up with Florida. He was their top goal scorer. Had a 31 goal season the year that we got into hockey, which was the
Yeah.
08-09 season.
Hmm.
Um, Followed that up with getting injured by Mike
Mike
Richards.
Richards.
Yeah, Mike Richards gave him a shot to the head, and then he never was the same player again. We ended up
So
trading him
sad.
to Vancouver the very day that I got his jersey.
That was the greatest. I think that's mainly why I wanted the story to come up, is because of that hilarious moment where you're like, we're all hyped to go to the game and we find out he got traded.
Yeah, I got the jersey the day before, which is the day he was
Hmm.
traded, and I wasn't old enough to kind of just go on Twitter and know everything that was happening as soon as it happened, like I
Hmm.
am now. So then I go to the game, I'm like super excited, I got my guy's jersey, and then where is he? I don't see him out there for practice. And then someone in the
We
stands
look
like,
it
he
up.
got traded. What the heck?
Boy, did I feel dumb.
Whatever.
Yeah,
I still have that jersey and I'm not gonna give it away.
yeah.
Someone was wanting me to sell it to them in the Panthers group. I'm like, nah.
Really? No, that's yours.
And let's talk about your favorite Predator for the 08-09 season. I know this answer, but you could surprise me. I
You
don't know.
know. No, it's. I think you know. It's Steve
Steve
Sullivan,
Sullivan. Yep.
which I have to look him up. I'm pretty sure he didn't barely play for Nashville too, because he was injured most of the time. Let's see.
Pull up his
So in
Rocket reference
'09,
page.
08, '09, he played 41. Okay, no, he played 82 games the following year, 51 points. So he did play, but I don't know why. I just liked him for some
Shorty.
reason. He was a shorty. He was on the right side, a right winger, and I just picked him in the be a pro, like pick a player thing for some
He's
reason.
got a good name. He got the
And
alliteration.
Steve
Steve
Sullivan.
Sullivan. Yeah.
And there's like this famous clip of the him getting hit in the head with a puck, a fan laughing at him, and then the puck goes around the boards, hits the same fan that was laughing at him,
Nice.
and then he goes up and like and like makes a joke towards him.
Oh, that's those early memes of the
Yeah,
thousands,
that was
2000.
a S tier clip, to say the least. But yeah, Steve Sullivan for some reason was my favorite. I got when the Predators had that alternate jersey that had like the checkerboard bottom
I
thing.
think you're the only person who likes that jersey. It like
I
never
loved
comes
that
up.
jersey. I loved
I
that
I
jersey
have
when I
no
was a
problem
kid.
with that jersey, but I'm just kind of
Yeah,
surprised that no one else talks about it. Like it's almost forgotten from
yeah,
history, which I
but
wish
yeah,
the Panthers jet blue would be forgotten from history. But now apparently it's like beloved, and I'm like,
yeah.
ew, like
Funny,
it's the worst.
but yeah. But I remember getting that jersey for Christmas one year. I was a very happy boy.
Yeah, and the
Very happy.
jersey you're wearing now is the guy after Steve Sullivan left. Shea
Jay
Weber,
Weber.
definitely your
Yeah,
favorite player. While after Steve
yeah.
Sullivan, that's kind of like how
Then
mine became Barkov eventually. So
mm,
like just kind of like the captain, like the best guy, you know.
yeah. Right now, my favorite player doesn't even play for my team. Now he plays for Edmonton. Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no!
Callback.
Gotta have to pick another one. Would you
No,
say
I still
Flippy Forsberg is your favorite Predator right now?
um
Maybe
it's
Yosi,
tough. There's there's three guys I really like. There's Yossi, Forsberg, and Saros.
the big
And
three,
then
basically.
yeah.
You should have just said Stamkos.
Stamkos. No. No, my favorite player is obviously Brady Skate.
That's a good pick.
Or however you say it.
Shay is how I've seen it pronounced. Shay.
Okay. Whatever.
It's good, Jay.
But yeah, I think we're good now.
Yep, that's gonna be it for us here on the Puck Bros podcast. We're gonna try to record every week. We missed last week, and we're a day late this week, but we'll try to get these episodes out to you on a weekly basis. But until next time, this was Brett
and Nolan.
Till next time, peace out.
See ya.